Hey guys, it's Miss L, and I'm going to show you how to make a paper weaving from scratch. So here's my example. I used white paper only. You can use 2 different color sheets of paper if you want to see more of a checkerboard pattern, and you can also use a magazine page. So usually in the past when you've done this, I'm sure an adult had helped you and already cut out the strips. So I'm going to teach you how to do this all on your own from scratch. And we're going to use some skills that we've already learned in the art room. So the first step is we're going to fold a paper in half. Line up the corners and crease. Okay, now we're going to use this part where the paper is open, the loose ends. We're not going to draw near the fold. And near these ends, we're going to draw a line. So take your ruler and line it up at the very edge. Again, this is the open side. Spread out your fingers to hold it tight, lined up with the edge of the paper, and draw a line. So this line we made is the guide to help you know when to stop cutting your paper. You don't cut past that line. Now with this part down here, we're going to add some vertical lines, which is going to be where we cut our paper. So in order to make them all straight, you have to make sure you line up your ruler every time with the previous line or the last line that you made. So we're going to start by lining it up with the edge, and it stops at this line that we already made that's now horizontal, and we don't go past up that way. So there's one. Now I'm going to line this ruler up here. So one side ends up a little skinny there, but that's okay. All right, let's start cutting. And stop at the horizontal line. So check right now that where you're cutting is the folded side. They should not be loose here. Okay, let's open that up. And this is where you're going to start weaving paper in and out of, these slits that we've created. So I'm going to put this off to the side and get a new piece of paper. Again, this could be a different color, and that would really make your weaving pop more. And I'm going to draw lines straight across. I turned this horizontally. I line this up with the very edge and do the same process, and we're going to draw the line completely across. Go ahead and cut these into strips, cut very neatly and carefully. If they end up really bumpy, and wavy, it's going to be hard to put into your weaving. So you really want to try to make them as straight as possible. Okay, we're ready to start the weaving. Take a strip and you're gonna go over, under, over, under. So you have to, it's almost like sewing. You're weaving it in and out of the paper. And push it over to the side. Good. All right, next piece. This one goes under, so I'm gonna start over this time. So it's over this and under this. So the last piece is a little tricky sometimes to get through because there's not that much space left. It might take a little bit of gentle bending or twisting. Okay, so now the last step is to tape the ends in place so that they don't fall out. And I like to make a small circle with the tape so we won't see the tape, and put it under the loose ends that you see on the front. Once these are done, we'll flip it over and tape the back too. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over, tape the last few ends. You don't want to pick it up or flip it before taping the front, because then the strips can fall out. And this is definitely the back because I have the pencil line that we started with. So actually, since this is the back, it doesn't matter if we show the tape. You don't have to do them as little balls. I just realized that. Okay, and then this is our final artwork. Mine ended up a little longer here. I'm gonna trim those. And this would look really beautiful in a frame. One thing I wanna show you is I actually did a whole project weaving like this in college, and this type of weaving technique is actually known as plaiting. A lot of people refer to it as weaving, but weaving is a little different. So this is called plaiting, and I wanted to share with you some of the plaiting designs I did. So this one is foil with a striped tissue paper. This one is a pattern paper with a magazine page, and then I added a diagonal extra strip of yellow paper in each section. This one I selected only certain areas to weave through, that way you would see a heart shape. This one is something that you could definitely do. I first painted on the yellow paper and then I wove it with another colored paper. Also, I did a pattern here where I skipped over 2 spaces. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but it's not an exact checkerboard. It's makes more of like a diagonal striped pattern. Here's another one I did with fabric for the base. I also created a pattern, and then I added in paper with a special folding technique. I think what I did for these papers is I wove it under, I folded it, and then wove it under again. And I did that all the way down. And this one is my favorite. It took so long. This took me many hours to make. It's a bunch of tiny ribbons, and I used 1, 2, 3, 4 different colors in each direction. And here's one that I think I did as a practice. I ended up not putting it in plastic because it wasn't part of my official collection, but this one also uses a magazine page. All right, have fun.